The body of missing Toronto filmmaker Rob Stewart has been found in the waters off the Florida Keys.
What was meant to be another remarkable chapter in his extraordinary journey took an unexpected turn, claiming the life of filmmaker and conservationist Rob Stewart. Join us as we uncover the details of Stewart's final dive, revealing the tragic and mysterious incident that unfolded beneath the ocean's surface and answering the questions that surround his untimely demise. Rob Stewart was born on December 28, 1979, in Toronto, Canada. From an early age, he developed a deep passion for the natural world, particularly the ocean and its inhabitants. He had been as comfortable in water as on land. Whenever we went camping, he was the first one in the water and the first one with something in his hand. A frog, a turtle, whatever, his father says. He would spend hours snorkeling, exploring every corner of the lake, and when he was 13, he convinced the entire family to get their scuba certification. He wanted to go deeper, to stay down longer. He became a scuba diving trainer at 18 years old. This fascination with marine life would become the driving force behind his remarkable career as a filmmaker, conservationist, and shark advocate. Stewart attended the University of Western Ontario, where he studied biology. He also began a job as a wildlife photographer, which led him to his first major realization about the environment. I'd heard animals were endangered and all that sort of stuff, but it never really impacted me in any way, he says. It wasn't until I was in Borneo and I saw proboscis monkeys getting encroached on by palm oil plantations and was in the Galapagos and found sharks getting long-lined. That was really big. These experiences ignited his desire to shed light on the critical issues facing our oceans and inspire others to take action. He recognized the power of storytelling and the medium of film to connect people with the beauty and fragility of marine ecosystems. With the release of his first groundbreaking documentary, Sharkwater, in 2006, Rob Stewart became a celebrity in the conservation world. In Sharkwater, Stewart embarked on a 4-year journey across the globe, visiting 12 countries such as Costa Rica, the Galapagos Islands, and the Bahamas. The mission behind this journey was to capture captivating underwater footage and expose the dark and brutal realities of shark finning and the devastating impact it has on shark populations and ocean ecosystems. Upon its release, Sharkwater had a significant impact. It received widespread acclaim, won more than 40 awards worldwide, and broke the Canadian box office records. And most importantly, it achieved Stewart's goal of changing the global attitude towards sharks. The documentary served as a wake-up call, igniting a global movement for shark conservation. January 31st, 2017 started like any other day for Stewart. On that day, he boarded the dive boat Pisces on the little island of Isla Morada, which is located close to Key Largo, Florida. His destination? The Queen of Nassau, a century-old Canadian steamship sitting 70 meters, 230 feet below the surface of the water. More specifically, he hoped to capture footage of the elusive sawfish that reportedly swam through the sunken wreck. The sawfish was once common in the tropical waters of the Atlantic, with a 5-foot saw attached to a 20-foot fish. Like so many sharks and rays, however, the sawfish has been hunted to near extinction. Today, it only makes sporadic, surreal appearances to divers before vanishing back into the ocean. It was Stewart's mission to get a sawfish on film that day. Little did he know the fate that awaited him. Accompanied by a small crew consisting of the boat's captain, David Wilkerson, friend and collaborator Brock Cahill, dive instructor Peter Sotis, and Peter's wife Claudia, who is a doctor, the 37-year-old filmmaker dove deeper than he ever had before, hoping to capture the beauty of the sawfish and shed light on the critical issues facing our oceans. Unfortunately, Stewart didn't find the sawfish on either of the 2 planned attempts that day. When they surfaced from the second dive, the team realized they'd left a grappling hook on the wreck attached to a buoy on the surface. Stewart and Sotis decided to dive again to retrieve it. As they resurfaced from the third dive just after 5 p.m., Stewart gave the OK sign. But soon after, a sense of urgency filled the air. As Sotis began climbing into the boat, it was clear he needed medical attention. He passed out briefly and the people on the boat rushed to get him oxygen. When they looked back to the water, Stewart had disappeared beneath the waves. "Where's Rob?" Cahill screamed in panic. The news of Stewart's disappearance spread like wildfire, igniting a global outpouring of support. Rescue teams, volunteers, and fellow conservationists organized in a desperate attempt to locate him and return him to safety. The search operation reached unprecedented levels, employing advanced technology and a relentless pursuit to locate Stewart. Every lead, every piece of information was meticulously analyzed, hoping for a breakthrough. Days turned into nights, and hope oscillated between despair and optimism. Stewart's family, friends, and fans clung to the belief that he would resurface, alive and well. He was superhuman. What if he had stayed afloat and simply been taken by the Gulf Stream? There was no possible way he wasn't on a boat full of hot college co-eds in the Bahamas drinking coconuts, says Julie Anderson, one of Stewart's close friends and colleagues. Their unwavering faith and the shared determination of the search teams became a beacon of hope during those harrowing days. After an extensive search of almost 6,000 square miles of ocean by 2 Coast Guard helicopters, multi-agencies, and the general public, Stewart's body was found on Friday, February 3, 2017, just minutes after Captain Jeffrey Jansen, commander of U.S. Coast Guard Sector Key West, had announced the multi-agency search was concluding. Stewart's body was found very close to where he disappeared in 217 feet, 66.4 meters of water. What happened to him? For the Stewarts, the fact that their son had died in a simple scuba diving accident just didn't make sense. They'd seen him as a kid on multiple occasions, just throwing on some fins and a mask, taking a deep breath, and swimming the length of a lake. Later, Stewart used to go off and film for 3 or 6 months at a time. We'd get these cryptic texts saying, "Oh, hey, I'm in Borneo and I'm diving with Dave and it's awesome and I saw some amazing stuff."
My parents worry all the time, yeah. What I've always told them, I just have this belief that I'm gonna be okay. And I'm sure I'm gonna be okay.
Stewart was an expert scuba diver, but that day in the Florida Keys was one of his first times diving with a rebreather. Rebreathers are a closed loop, scrubbing exhaled breath of its carbon dioxide and adding oxygen. They let divers go deeper and stay down longer. They're also nearly silent and don't produce bubbles, which can scare off a skittish creature like a sawfish. To learn how to use the complicated equipment, Stewart sought the guidance of Peter Sotis, an instructor and the owner of a rebreather supply shop. Sotis touted his abilities as the leader of a dive team that pushes the limits as they explore deep walls in excess of 600 feet, deep wrecks, and extreme caves. But he had a conflicting reputation in Florida's diving community. Sotis had a history that included armed robbery and selling non-compliant scuba tanks. As a diver, he was known as someone who was willing to test the boundaries of what was safe, saying things like, "Oh, f*** it, we'll dive deeper and faster," says Andy Casagrande, a National Geographic underwater cinematographer who collaborated with Stewart. Despite Sotis's reputation, Stewart went on daring dives with him, going beyond recommended limits. Most experts advise limiting dives in the 200-plus foot range to 1 per day, but on that fateful day, Stewart and Sotis pushed it further with multiple dives. 2 dives was tempting fate, 3 dives was hubris, Neil Pollack says, who is an experienced diver and the first research chair in hyperbaric and diving medicine at Laval University. It's not that it's guaranteed to be unsafe, it's that it's really pretty cavalier. In March 2017, the Stewarts launched a negligence lawsuit against Peter Sotis, his wife Claudia, and Horizon Dive Adventures, the owners of the Pisces. None of the parties have filed a statement of defense. Horizon asked for the proceedings against it to be stayed, arguing the incident was caused solely by conditions beyond its control. The Stewarts wanted to know why someone hadn't been keeping an eye on Stewart when he surfaced. According to his dive computer, Stewart spent 3 minutes on the surface from the end of the 3rd dive until he disappeared. 3 minutes. Sotis and the rest of the crew had a duty to exercise reasonable care for the safety of its passengers, the Stewarts say in their statement of claim. Since the accident, Sotis says he has left the dive industry permanently and his company has gone bankrupt. At the same time as the Stewarts were trying to find answers about their son's death, they were also pushing forward with his last film. Stewart had shot hours and hours of footage, but his parents didn't know if it amounted to a movie. After talking with documentarians from across the country, they met with Nick Hector, an acclaimed editor who had met Stewart just a few months before his passing. Hector told the family his approach would be simple. "We have to make Rob's film," he told them. "We will try to get inside his head and tell the film in his own words." The Stewarts gave Hector their son's footage, as well as Rob's notes about the movie, his diaries, his iPad, his emails, and the scribblings he'd made that mapped out an aesthetic vision. Hector also brought on Sturla Gunnarsson, an award-winning documentary filmmaker, to act as a creative consultant. Over 9 months, they painstakingly constructed a movie out of the hundreds of hours of film Stewart had shot. The result was breathtaking. The film is fast-moving, jumping across the globe. Stewart flies a drone over a warehouse in Costa Rica to reveal illegal shark fins drying on the roof. He talks his way onto a boat in Cape Verde and films a mountain of butchered blue sharks. He stakes out fishermen off the coast of Los Angeles who are carelessly killing marine life with drift nets and is forced to flee when they open fire on his crew. The final version of Sharkwater Extinction was released in 2018. In one of the film's final scenes, we see Stewart and Sotis on the Pisces as it chugs through the water, setting off to find the sawfish. The sun glistens off the gently swelling ocean. "These are rebreathers," Stewart says to the camera, holding up the gear. "We're going to use this new technology to get deeper than we've ever been before to film a creature that people have rarely seen in the wild." Stewart jumps into the ocean. He adjusts his mask, and then his camera captures his slow descent into the water before fading to black. After the incident, the U.S. Navy Experimental Dive Unit, NEIDU, examined the Revo rebreather and Shearwater petrel dive computer used by Rob Stewart. Their report, submitted in April 2017, was shared with the U.S. Coast Guard and the Monroe County Medical Examiner. Dr. Thomas Beaver conducted the autopsy, and the official report released in August 2017 concluded that Stewart drowned due to acute lack of oxygen, hypoxia, at the surface. Beaver said, "Based on the information available to me at this time, it is my opinion that both Peter Sotis and Robert Stewart suffered acute hypoxia at the surface. Once Mr. Stewart lost consciousness, he lost control of the breathing loop and drowned. Therefore, it is my opinion that the cause of death is best certified as drowning, with the manner of death classified as accident." Today, Rob Stewart's spirit lives on through the ongoing efforts of organizations and individuals committed to his mission. His films, his message, and his unwavering passion for ocean conservation remain a call to action for us all. Rob Stewart's impact transcends borders and reminds us of the urgent need to protect and preserve our oceans for future generations. If you found this video informative or thought-provoking, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel to stay updated on more tragic stories.